Hi everyone, this is Dee with My Money Story, and I wanted to share with you the next part of my personal money story, which was when I purchased my first home. So back in 2008, I decided I was done with apartment living. I didn't want to hear my neighbors every morning and every night anymore. So I thought, okay, time to purchase a house. So I went to a bank here in Houston and spoke with one of the representatives, and they went through a small checklist with me, and they said, "Oh, Miss Williams, you qualify for," at the time, I think they said $175,000. And back then, that was enough to get a good starter home, right? And so I thought, wait a minute, I know my salary. I can't qualify for that much. And they told me, oh, yes, you really can. You qualify for that up to about 250,000 or something like that. And I thought, how is the bank going to tell me that I qualify for that much money? I know how much I make and I want to be able to save. Something just didn't feel right inside, and I thought, you know what? Now's not the time. A few months later, what happened? The housing crash happened because loans were being offered that should not have been offered, and people got in trouble with the payments, and it was a real problem. So uh, I'm glad I said no at that time. So 2 years later, 2010, I've saved more money, I'm more prepared, I've studied, I've been reading and all that good stuff. And I said, okay, now let's see if it's time. And so I started to read a book written by a local Houston realtor, and it was really good, and it went through all the basics, and I went through all the basics, and eventually she became my realtor, and started showing me properties and all this good stuff. And I walked into a house, this house actually, that in a neighborhood that I wasn't familiar with, in a part of town I didn't even say I wanted to live in. It wasn't where we were looking. I hadn't even really paid attention to this part of Houston before, and I walked in and I thought, oh, look at that. This is my house. And sometimes you just know. It didn't have the features I said that I wanted. It didn't have a front porch, and a few other things that I just said, oh, I have to have that. I have to have that. I didn't have to have that. I didn't need a front porch. But perfect house for me. Since it's just for me, it's a perfect size for entertaining, for having people over, for cleaning, all that good stuff. So it worked out. So we went through the process. I put down the earnest money. I was super nervous. It was about a 3-month process from the time we chose the house until the day that we closed. But as with any home purchase, there were some emotional bumps along the way, and actually one major bump. So the emotional bumps were that I hadn't done it before. And so I'm a very by the book person, and I like for things to be lined up to where I can kind of see what's going to happen before it happens, right? And so I was, still trying to really pay attention, mind my P's and Q's, make sure I turned all my documents in on time and all that good stuff. And then it came down to, I remember I did not understand at the time that I did not have to pay for 1 year of insurance up front. And I somehow saw how much insurance was going to cost, and it was like this amount. And I thought, no, I don't have that right now. And so I kind of had an emotional freak out based on a lack of understanding. Really great realtor. She calmed me down and she was like, look, stop tripping. This is what it is. It's no big deal. We're not stopping the process. Let's move forward. So I said, okay, all right. So I felt a little bit more calm there. I think every new home buyer, first time home buyer, I think that there's always at least one good freak out moment, right? Where you don't quite understand the process. Maybe you're not getting the level of communication that you think you need to get. You don't understand that everything is actually in process. Everything is moving along. And when something is needed, your realtor or your lender will let you know. You don't know those things, unless you work on the other side of it. So anyway, we trucked along just fine. I do remember that I did have a serious glitch, which turned out to be okay. But I was working a lot at the time, like constantly, and I had my laptop in my vehicle, and I was at the park to go meet some friends. And my laptop and my checkbook and everything that I left in the car all got stolen. And we were halfway through the process. of me purchasing this home. So this was about a month to a month and a half in, and I had to let the bank know and the lender know and I had to let everyone know what had happened, and I had to close out my accounts, and I had to start all my accounts over in the middle of this process. So I freaked out a little bit about that too, but we got past it and everything was smooth. Thankfully, no funds had been stolen, and we just moved along. So it was, that was a serious bump in the road. But eventually, we made it to the finish line. I was so grateful. I was so happy. I was very proud of myself because, I'd seen myself as a homeowner, but sometimes, we see things, but we don't work towards them. And so it's good to go ahead and start working towards it. And so I did that and got the keys and had a fantastic closing. Had a fantastic realtor, had a fantastic title company that took care of everything. So it was a really, really good, really positive experience. So that's the next part of my money story. And actually, I have to tell you the money part. So because I stayed within budget on my house, I was able to save over the years, which was great. Pretty soon it's going to be time to get a larger place, but I was really appreciative about the fact that, I stayed in budget. I didn't, overdo it on the house. I didn't let the HGTV mentality take over and think, oh, well, I have to keep up with the Joneses and I have to have this much house and everything like that. No, no. Get what you need. And then when you outgrow that and your finances support it, move on to the next thing. That's just how it works. If you want to be able to keep money in your pocket and not struggle when emergencies come up. But one other thing I want to mention is that the amount of mortgage that I've paid over the years was less than the rent I was paying. I love that. So I built equity. I, have a detached home. I have fantastic neighbors on both sides. That was fantastic. But it's less money than if I were renting. Less money. Even the utilities are less money because these days homes are so energy efficient that most likely, depending on your situation and on the home size and stuff, you can wind up paying less in utilities than what you pay in an apartment, or at least equal to, right? So it was a really good move and I'm grateful that I made it. Okay, guys, so I will tell you the next part of my money story some other time. You guys take care. Have a great day.